Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going deep on something that's probably in your pocket or on your desk right now.
Well, maybe even both.
You got it. We're talking about Apple Silicon.
You guys sent in a ton of research on this, articles, reports, the whole shebang.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be tracing the evolution of these chips, from the first iPhone all the way to the latest Macs.
It's a pretty wild story, actually. I mean, most people don't give much thought to the chips that power their devices.
True. But Apple's decision to start designing their own chips?
It was a total game changer.
So before we get lost in the weeds, could we just define what Apple Silicon even is? Like for someone who's hearing about it for the first time?
Sure. Apple Silicon is the name for all the processors that Apple designs in-house. These aren't just your standard CPUs.
Okay, so what are they then?
They're systems on a chip, so SoCs for short.
SoCs. Got it.
Basically, all the different components.
Yeah.
The processor, the graphics, the memory.
They're all packed together on a single chip.
Exactly. And that gives Apple incredible control over how their devices perform.
We're talking iPhones, right? iPads, Macs.
Apple Watches, the new Vision Pro headset, even the AirPods. It's pretty remarkable when you think about it.
You keep saying control.
Yeah.
And I get that. But Apple designs these chips. They don't actually manufacture them, do they?
Right. They partner with companies like TSMC to do the actual manufacturing. But the design...
That's all Apple.
Yep. And that tight integration between hardware and software is a big part of why Apple devices perform so well.
And why the battery life is so good.
Exactly. So where should we start with all this research? There's a lot to unpack here.
Well, your notes mention two main families of chips, the A series and the M series.
Right.
Maybe we start with the A series. I mean, that's what's in my phone, my iPad. It's been around longer than the Apple Silicon Mac.
You're right. The A series is really where Apple cut its teeth in chip design. Think way back to 2010.
Whoa, okay. Back when I was still rocking a flip phone.
The A4 chip that debuted in the original iPad and the iPhone 4.
Yeah.
And from there, they just kept innovating.
And it wasn't just like little incremental upgrades. Each new A-series chip.
You could feel the difference.
Yeah, like the A5. With a dual-core CPU and the improved graphics.
Games ran so much smoother. It was a big step forward for mobile performance.
And then the A6. That's when Apple started designing their own CPU cores, right?
Exactly. The Swift core. Instead of licensing designs from other companies, they went their own way.
That seems like a pretty bold move. Like designing a CPU from scratch.
It was a risk, but it paid off big time. The A6 was a huge success, and it paved the way for everything that came after.
So like the A7, this was the first 64-bit processor in a smartphone. Was that a big deal at the time?
It was monumental. It wasn't just about being first. It was about future-proofing the iPhone, moving to 64-bit.
It allowed for more powerful apps.
Exactly. And smoother multitasking. It was a huge leap forward for the entire mobile ecosystem.
Okay, now this is where things start to get a bit over my head. Like, I see all this stuff about nanometers and LPDDR5 memory. It's a lot.
I hear you. It can get pretty technical pretty quickly. But basically, when we talk about nanometers, we're talking about the size of the transistors on the chip.
And the transistors are what actually do
The processing, the calculations. The smaller the transistors, the more you can fit on a single chip.
Which means better performance and lower power consumption.
Right. And Apple's been pushing those boundaries with each new generation of the A series. They went from 20 nanometers with the A8 down to 16 with the A9, 14 with the A10.
They just kept shrinking them down.
Exactly. And that brings us to another major milestone, the A11 Bionic chip.
This is the one with the neural engine, right?
You got it. This was a dedicated processor designed specifically for machine learning and AI. Think of it like a mini brain inside your iPhone.
So like when my phone can tell the difference between a cat and a dog in a photo.
That's the neural engine at work. And it powers things like Siri's voice recognition, augmented reality. It's a pretty big deal.
I'm starting to see why Apple Silicon is such a big deal.
And they haven't slowed down. A12 Bionic, first 7-nanometer chip in a smartphone. Then the A14, first 5-nanometer chip.
And the A16, that brought in LPDDR5 memory.
Right, which is a type of RAM that's super fast and power efficient, makes everything snappier.
Okay, and now they've got the A17 Pro with that crazy 3-nanometer process and hardware-accelerated ray tracing.
They're not messing around.
It's mind-blowing how much technology they've packed into these chips.
I know, right? But we've only scratched the surface?
Wait, there's more.
Oh, yeah. What about the M series, the chips that are powering those new Macs?
You're right. That's a whole other rabbit hole.
And we're going down it.
Okay, so the M series chips. These are what's powering those sleek new Macs, right?
Yep, these are the brains behind the operation.
And it's a pretty big departure from how things used to be,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, before the M series, Macs were using Intel processors.
just like any other PC.
Exactly. But in 2020, Apple decided to go all in on their own silicon.
Which, let's be honest, was a pretty risky move at the time.
Oh, it was a gamble for sure. Intel was the industry standard.
Yeah, everyone was using Intel.
But Apple had this vision. They wanted to create Macs that were even more powerful
More efficient.
and more tightly integrated than ever before.
And it seems like they've succeeded. I mean, all the reviews rave about the performance of these new Macs.
Oh.
And the battery life is supposed to be incredible.
It is. The battery life on these things is insane. But it's not just about that. The performance gains have been off the charts. It all started with that first M1 chip back in 2020.
And that really shook things up.
It did.
So what made the M1 so special? Was it just about being more powerful?
It was more than just raw power. The M1 introduced this thing called a unified memory architecture.
Okay, now we're getting into the technical stuff. Can you break that down for us non-engineers?
Sure. Think of it this way. In a traditional computer, the CPU and the GPU are like two separate teams working on a project.
Okay.
They each have their own tools, their own resources.
So they have to constantly communicate back and forth.
Exactly. And that can create bottlenecks, slow things down.
So with unified memory.
It's like putting those two teams in the same room and giving them access to all the same tools and resources.
So no more bottlenecks.
Right.
Mm.
The CPU and GPU can share memory directly without having to copy data back and forth.
And that makes everything faster and more efficient.
Exactly. It's a huge part of why those early M1 Macs were so impressive. They could handle these crazy demanding tasks like video editing and 3D rendering without even breaking a sweat.
And the battery life was still incredible.
Right. It was a real game changer.
And then they just kept going, right? They came out with the M1 Pro, the M1 Max.
Yep. More cores, more memory bandwidth
Mhm.
for those power users who need that extra oomph.
And didn't they also create the M1 Ultra by
Yeah.
basically smashing two M1 Max chips together?
They did. That was a wild one.
Like a supercomputer in a tiny little package.
And then, of course, they didn't stop there. We got the M2.
The M2 Pro.
The M2
2 Max.
That's Ultra.
Are they ever going to slow down?
Doesn't look like it. And each generation brings these noticeable improvements, like the M2. That uses an enhanced 5-nanometer process.
Even more powerful, even more efficient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the M2 Pro and M2 Max just amp things up even further.
More cores, more everything.
Right, like the M2 Pro's GPU. Twice as fast as the original M1.
It's almost hard to keep up with all these new chips. So the M2 Ultra, is that the same idea as the M1 Ultra?
Yeah, 2 M2 Max chips combined into one mega powerful package. We're talking 22 streams of 8K ProRes video playback simultaneously.
That's just ridiculous.
I know, right? Like, where do they even go from here? But you know what?
What?
They're already working on the M3, rumored to be built on a 3-nanometer process.
That's even smaller.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Even more transistors, potentially even bigger performance gains.
It's like they're bending the laws of physics at this point.
It's pretty mind-blowing. And, it's not just about the specs.
Right.
Apple's doing something really interesting here with the M series. They're redefining what a personal computer can be.
It's inspiring in a way.
It is. They're not just following the trends, they're setting them.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Apple Silicon.
You're telling me. We haven't even talked about the H series, the R series.
The S series. There's a whole alphabet soup of chips out there.
And each one plays a critical role in shaping the Apple experience.
Okay, so we've explored the A series, the brains behind the iPhone and iPad, and the M series, powering those new Macs. But there are all these other Apple Silicon chips out there.
Yeah, like a whole secret world of silicon.
It's a lot to keep track of. So what's the deal with the H series chips? I know those are in my AirPods.
The H series. These are all about creating a seamless, high-quality audio experience. They're like the unsung heroes of your AirPods.
You know, it's funny. I use my AirPods almost every day, and I never really think about the technology that makes them work.
It's pretty incredible when you stop and think about it.
So what are these H-series chips actually doing in there?
Well, they handle all the wireless communication between your AirPods and your iPhone, or your iPad, your Mac, whatever you're connected to.
Makes sense.
They ensure that stable connection so you don't have any dropouts, but it goes beyond that. The H-series chips also do a lot of audio processing, noise cancellation, even spatial audio.
Whoa, spatial audio.
Yeah, like when you're listening to music and it feels like the sound is all around you.
Oh, right. I've heard about that.
That's the H1 or H2 chip at work. They have these special sensors and algorithms that can track the position of your head.
So it adjusts the sound based on how you're moving your head.
Exactly. It's pretty wild.
That's really cool.
And it's not just a gimmick either. The latest H2 chip with that advanced computational audio, it personalizes the sound based on the shape of your ear.
So it's like a custom sound system for my ears.
Pretty much.
Wow. Okay, so H series, all about the audio. What about the S series chips? Those are in the Apple Watch, right?
You got it. Those are all about miniaturization and power efficiency. They're like the brains of the Apple Watch.
It's crazy how much tech they pack into that tiny little watch.
I know, right? Processor, memory, storage, wireless communication, it's all in there.
And they've come a long way, too.
Oh, yeah. Like the latest S9 chip. Dual-core CPU, a 4-core neural engine. Even that new U2 ultra-wideband chip.
Wait, the U2 chip, that's what's in the iPhone 15, too, right?
Yep, same one. It's how those AirTags are so precise at tracking stuff.
So is Apple just putting the U2 chip in everything now?
It seems like it, but it makes sense. That ultra-wideband technology, it's got a lot of potential.
So imagine this. I'm wearing my Apple Watch with the U2 chip.
Mhm.
I walk into my house, and it communicates with the U2 chip in my HomePod Mini.
Turns on the lights, adjusts the thermostat.
Exactly. The possibilities are kind of endless.
And don't forget about that powerful neural engine in the S9. More on-device processing.
So things should run faster.
And the battery life should be even better.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Oh, yeah.
Apple is obsessed with making things smaller, faster, more efficient.
That's a pretty good observation. And it's not just the AM and S series chips either. You've got the T series for security.
Right, the T series.
Yep.
Like a little security guard in your device.
Exactly. They handle things like Touch ID, secure boot, encryption, all that important stuff.
And what about the R series? I saw that mentioned somewhere in here.
Oh, the R series chips. Those are relatively new. They handle the real-time processing for the sensors in those Vision Pro headsets.
That makes sense. Those
Oh.
headsets are packed with all kinds of sensors.
Right. They need a dedicated chip to manage all that data.
And then there's the W series.
Ah, yes, the W series. The unsung heroes of wireless connectivity. They make sure your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are running smoothly.
So those are the ones working behind the scenes to make sure my AirPods stay connected.
Yep, that's them. Always working hard.
You know, when we started this whole deep dive, I thought it was going to be all about specs and benchmarks.
Whoa.
But it's really about so much more than that. It's like Apple has created this whole ecosystem of chips all working together.
A symphony of silicon.
Yeah, exactly. And it all comes together to create this seamless Apple experience that we all know and, well, some of us love.
I think it's pretty remarkable, honestly.
It is. And this is just the beginning, right? Who knows what Apple will come up with next?
That's what makes it so exciting.
Well, thanks for taking us on this deep dive into the world of Apple Silicon. It's been a fascinating journey.
My pleasure. I'm glad we could explore this together.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep diving deep.